Hey guys, it's Josh from the Tina team. Today we're super excited to announce a brand new feature in TinaCloud, and that is separate content repos. Separate content repos allow you to split up your application into two repos, one for the content and one for the generator. Let's go ahead and have a look at this. So out of the box, this is how most of your TinaCMS websites will look. You'll have all of your application code in there, your Tina schema, all of your content such as your documentation, and your actual build scripts all packaged together in the one GitHub repository. And that's fine, but when you go ahead and split up your project into two repositories, there are heaps of benefits you can reap. The first one is it's way easier to scope permissions, meaning you can only give one repository access to your developers and one of them to your content editors. Another one is there's independent content updates. So when you go ahead and you actually want to make changes, releases, or create change sets, your Git history will be completely independent of one another. This also means that content scales way easier. For example, over at SSW, we have one repository with over 4,000 rules all in Markdown. As a developer, you don't want to have all those 4,000 extra files in your codebase when you're only making changes to the actual application logic itself. And finally, your Git history is way cleaner. It's way easier to track where edits were made, why they were made, and what they were made for. So now what would this actual split look like? Well, as you can see, on the left-hand side, we have our generator repository. Our generator repository is where the developers will be living, and this is where all your application code lives, your Tina schema, and your build scripts. And on the right, we have our content repositories. Now your content repositories are where the editors will be living. The content repository has all of your content, such as your documentation, your images, uploads, all of those things. So before this release, it was logistically possible to go ahead and set up separate content repositories with TinaCloud, but there were a few sticky points, and we've heard from the community on Discord and GitHub discussions, there were quite a few pain points, such as keeping the two repositories in sync. So some things like the Tina lock file, you actually have to keep in sync between the two repositories, even though it didn't matter in the content repository itself. There are a series of cross-repository references which were easily broken in production. There was a lot of extra tooling and setup overhead that you needed to do both on a local and production base. And finally, you'd have to coordinate deployment across the two repos, which is just never fun to do. So now after this release, what we can do is we can actually go ahead and link two different repositories, one as the generator repository and one as the content repository, to a singular TinaCloud project, meaning that TinaCloud now knows what's happening over all of your repositories, and when you make changes on your live site, they'll be committed correctly to your content repository. So now what will this look like in TinaCloud's dashboard? How can I actually set this up myself? Let's jump over there. So if you already have an existing TinaCloud project, what you're going to do is find the configuration tab in the top panel, scroll down until you find GitHub repo, and go ahead next to the separate content repo, select on the toggle, choose your repository. Now, if you're creating a brand new TinaCloud project, the setup could not be any easier. When you get to the project configuration step, you'll do the same thing. Find the same user separate content repo section, go ahead to the toggle, select it on, and go ahead and choose your content repository. Too easy. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'm Josh from the Tina team, and today we looked at the brand new release of separate content repos, what issues it fixes, and how you can set it up and get started today with TinaCloud. See you next time. Bye.